Hi there, I'm Java Jim with First Line Equipment, and today in front of us we have this beautiful ECM Technika PID heat exchange espresso machine. And today we are going to show you how to remove the body, the top cover and the body, and go over on the insides of this wonderful machine. So the first step is make sure the machine is cold and unplugged, because you don't want to get electrocuted or burned. Remove the reservoir. Make sure that you have no drip tray, no portafilter here. And on the inside here, can't see from there, but there are 4 Allen key screws, which do need to be removed. And pretty easy for me to remove them because I've already loosened them. That's the beauty part of video. You can make things look so easy when in real life they're not so easy. And these 4 screws are going to come out. If you notice, there's short ones in the back, tall ones in the front. And I'm not going to tell you the sizes for the simple reason that sometimes the manufacturers change it. So like in 3 years from now, it could be a totally different size screw. So the top cover comes off. And inside we have another cover. And this one's a little more difficult because you can't turn around the whole Allen key. So you just get it started and then you can basically unscrew it by hand. And this is real time. There's no editing here to cut this out because kind of shows you how long it's going to really take and what a pita it can be. Also, I suggest that the screws here are different than the top screws, so I like to put them in order as I'm taking them out, and then I go backwards putting them in. And now we'll get this one here. And this panel does slide forward and back right now, so the other nice thing with the screws is you get some cups. Put them in cups. Another way not to mix them up. So that panel comes out. Now you may see a scratch or 2 on this panel, normal. Underside, you're definitely seeing scratches. No one finishes the undersides, okay? This is not visible. Okay, so again, hot, not hot, needs to be cold, and unplugged from the outlet. Now a little secret here is the panel's already wiggling a little bit because I've loosened the bottom. And then on the back side, you're going to, there's a whole bunch of screws here. You're only loosening the ones that are holding the panel. Okay. And these, sometimes you could just loosen, but it's easier if you just remove them. And these have washers, so you want to make sure that you keep the washers intact with the screw so you know where these go. So we have 4 screws here. And I do like to remove the feet so you don't scratch them. Here's actually the valve for the direct plumbing, and here's the water line connection for the direct plumbing. Now, the machine is resting on its group head. Sometimes you could put a towel down here so you don't scratch anything. And then the hard part is there are 2 Allen key screws inside here. And sometimes these can be a challenge. as posing right now. And these you just really have to just loosen. You don't have to remove them, but it is a royal pain to get to these two right here. And I lost my Allen key in there. Ha ha ha. Let's try from this angle. Now you know why repair techs charge so much money to repair machines. Okay, this one's going to be a little more difficult. Let's try the other side. The other side is a little better. And these screws here really hold the body in place very well. Okay, let's see if we can get this out. Now, you want to push down like that. So see how I banged it? That's why I removed the feet, and this whole body panel, which is connected with screws, comes out. So instead of taking each panel, because it's really hard to get to the screws down here when it's on the machine, and then what happens is I'll just loosen these. So when you put this back, these will go in much easier, and then you just tighten them, okay? Not too tight. Then here, we now have the guts of the ECM Technika with the PID. The feet we could put back on as well. On this side, we have the brain unit. This controls the auto refill to make sure that water goes from the reservoir to the boiler, or from the direct plumbing to the boiler. Has some other functionality. Here we have a small relay. If you notice, this is nice and low on the machine because heat rises. We do have an insulated stainless steel boiler. We have our heating element right here. We have a capacitor. This is pretty much with a pump motor. And if you look, the pump is right here and the motor is right back here going straight to the back. So if you need to replace or repair that, there's two screws that hold the water tank reservoir, and that comes out so you have more access. Let's actually go back to this side. Here is your PID sensor here at the top of the boiler. Here is your capillary tube for the pump pressure gauge. And on this tube right here, this is your steam pressure that basically runs all the way up to the steam pressure gauge. If you look here, there's two thermosiphon tubes. One looks about 10 to 12 millimeters, and the other one down here looks about 8 to 10 millimeters in size. Here's your pipe for the steam that goes at the top of the boiler. And if you look at the hot water valve and see how it comes down to the bottom. So what happens is the boiler is, say, half filled with steam and half filled with water. The steam pressure at the top pushes as soon as you open this valve, pushes the water at the bottom and up and out through the wand. That's why you'll get steam coming out with the hot water, because steam will mix in with it. As the water level drops, okay, what ends up happening is you're going to get more steam come out. Now, my recommendation to all customers is no more than 4 ounces at a time, because if this water level drops below this heating element, the inside where the heating element is can dry out or burn out, because it has to stay submerged in water. So if you're taking out the whole boiler fill of water, you're going to run into that problem. And the steam pressure can push the water out faster than this pump can get it back inside. So this is where it's really important to only take out 4 ounces of water. Here you have your safety valve. This unit here looks like it's 2 bar pressure. So if you hear the machine like a locomotive, that means the machine's overheating. It's usually overheating because you have lime scale on the PID sensor right here, and that might have to be cleaned. 99% of the time it's because of lime scale when a machine overheats. In here is the bleeder valve. Okay, so the vacuum pressure breaker valve. When a machine cools, it builds up a vacuum pressure inside, that's steam, and it makes a vacuum. And if you don't have this, there's machines out there that don't. When you go turn it back on, it gets to like lukewarm and doesn't heat up. So just keep that in mind. And then on the other side here, pretty much flat boiler. Here is the connection if you're going to plumb it in. The valve is on the bottom. And then here is your PID controller on this side. So you have access right here. And then here you have a light switch, okay? It's kind of held in by friction, and there's a nut on the back side. So there is a nut right here, and there is a friction grip on the actual back of the switch. So it just friction grip, and then there's a holding nut for each plate, the orange and the green plate on the machine. And here you can see probably a better view of the pump motor. And here is the water inlet from the tank that comes in here. And last but not least, it's kind of hard to see, but the magnetic float for the reservoir, which is right here and sits in on this corner, the sensor for the magnetic float is right here. Now, if the machine doesn't power or heat on, it's usually because the magnetic float doesn't float, or there could be limescale or debris that's holding this float down. So just be aware of that. The float can come out. There is a tab on the top that slides out like that. And the key is that you see this little white magnet portion right there? That's where the magnet's in. That's got to go into the slot right here. So it goes in like this, and that basically is the sensor that measures where the float is. So, and then this just holds in by friction. Sometimes this little cap comes out from washing, so make sure it's pushed in nice and tight, and make sure it has free movement like this. So if this comes out and you don't put it in the right way, the machine won't work. So just to make you aware, that's one of the first places to check. And that's pretty much an entire overview of how to take the body off, and also the internal components of the machine, so you can see the quality that's actually built. And actually, before this overview, I complete this, there's actually two other things that I forgot. One is here, there's two safety thermostats. So if the other thing is it doesn't heat, make sure you unplug the machine and hit those two black buttons in between the safety thermostats. And then this contraption right here with the red wire, and it could be a different color on future machines, that's connected to the brain unit and monitors the water level sensor on the inside of the machine. So just to go over that on those two things. To put it back, basically you're gonna take the feet off, tilt it up like I showed you, get the body back on, tighten those two first nuts, then the bottom nuts, and then put the top cover back on without the reservoir, because if not, you won't get the reservoir out. All right, thank you for watching. Have a great day. Also, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Give us a thumbs up down below. And if you have any questions, you can ask below or right on our website. You'll find the link right down there. Once again, Java Jim with First Line Equipment.